Build the best football team in the SEC conference. We're going to build the best football program in the SEC conference.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
The kick, it's been blocked again! How about it? It's been blocked again! It's going to heat one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyree Cleveland! How about it? I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw. Pops and fires the ball over the middle. It's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory's got a touchdown! Oh, man! Dory's got a touchdown!
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out the winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium Miguel. It's your favorite Uncle Silk.
It's Dan.
And Delatorre.
Not the same time, but we definitely at the same corner, man. Top of the top, Friday morning. How y'all boys feeling?
Good. Fresh off the day after the Pop-Tarts Bowl. What'd you guys think?
I didn't catch the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Didn't catch it.
Yeah,
Never
it's
put my
not even
Pop-Tarts
about the
in the bowl
game. It's
either.
about the mascot. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch the mascot of the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I think it used to be the Cheez-It Bowl, maybe.
Okay.
It was a life-size Pop-Tart
was.
that ended up being edible.
Sort of. I thought it was going to be edible. At the end of the game, he goes into this giant toaster and he like waves goodbye. And then after he's down, then like a Pop-Tart that was not the mascot comes out. So in a way,
Bait and switch.
but not really. Yeah, it was definitely a bait and switch. I thought the actual mascot was going to be like, break and eat, but no.
Sounds like a vibe. Sounds like I missed some good times, man.
How was y'all's Christmas? Pretty good?
Yeah, I have no complaints, man. A lot of quality time with the family. That's all it been this time of the year, bro. Went to go see my cousins. They hosted the Christmas holiday this year up in Port St. Lucie. So I was up there spending some time with a lot of family. That's been the gist of everything. Just been vibing. Weather has been off and on, raining, some sunshine. Got some sunshine today, but no complaints on my end, bro. Just good food, good family times.
Yeah, we hosted my family. The wife had to work on Christmas, so everyone came up. Great food until that barbecue. Cannot recommend Dickie's. But yeah, great times. Great to see the family. Got a new bed for Christmas. Probably the highlight. A little king size. And then just weird, not covering a football game, but enjoying watching bowl season.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we were down in South Florida for a couple days. That was great. Great seeing the family. Going through some health issues in the family, so it's good to spend time with the family and everything else. So that was great. Came back up here to Tampa, ready to just enjoy a nice long weekend as we get into to New Year's Day. So that's why we're recording today instead of on Monday, so we can enjoy and relax during the holiday time. We appreciate you guys for joining. What did you guys think of the Miami Rutgers game yesterday? Enjoyable?
Beautiful. Love to see Ja'Carri Brown stink it up. They got a quarterback situation to figure out, but they just got manhandled in the trenches. And I was shocked by that because I got a lot of respect for what Mario's built in the trenches, but Rutgers was with all the smoke yesterday, bro, and they came in and did what they had to do. So a beautiful L for the folks down in Miami. Actually looking forward to that 8:31 game.
Shiano had receipts, is what you're saying?
What was that?
Shiano had receipts?
Yeah, he definitely had receipts, man. 100%. I don't know who. I mean, that game for August 31st, the kickoff, we play in Miami. It's gonna be like a battle of time management between Billy Napier and Mario Cristobal. We're gonna see who can just screw up time management the best, and that's who will lose that game.
That is why you're not in charge of ticket sales.
Hey, tickets, as we know, Gator fans gonna pull up deep regardless, bro. We don't really win, lose, or draw. We're gonna be at that game. I'm definitely gonna be at it, looking forward to it. But
it'll be a fun one.
Man, an embarrassing showcase of time management yesterday by Mario.
There's been a lot of Miami fans that asked me to show my face over the last couple of years in Miami. So I will be showing my face likely at that game. I think that'd be fun.
You ready to square up?
You're
No,
crossing
no,
the
no,
whole
that'd be
counties of Florida.
The bearded Chicos. Say what?
Chicos, man.
This is not the first county that wants to fight you.
Yeah.
No, Duval County. But the last time I was in Duval County, they also welcomed me with open arms. I would imagine Miami Gardens will do the same.
Always.
As a 954 legend, you know what I mean, Nick?
Coral Springs, Miami Gardens, a little different.
I was down in your neck of the woods. I went to Tap 42 in Coral Springs.
Ooh.
I hit you up. I'm like, hey, yo, I'm in right here in Coral Springs having some dinner and whatnot. Christmas Eve, we went down to Sawgrass, so had to hit you up. I was on the mean streets of Wiles Road, man.
Yeah. Wow.
Like
I mean, you probably drove right by my parents' house. How's the new road construction look? Pretty good, right?
Yeah, I hadn't been over there in a minute, man.
Yeah.
It looks totally different.
Yeah. You know, now there's a whole area of Coral Springs called downtown Coral Springs.
Really?
Not worth, comparing to a downtown of any other major metropolitan area or even a suburb of a metropolitan area. Downtown Coral Springs is its own thing.
It's a vibe.
It's not a vibe.
It's not a vibe.
Wouldn't call it that. But shout out to the beautiful city of Coral Springs for some great memories. Great memories. All right, guys, let's get into the show. Lot of news. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Lucy. Go visit lucy.co /stadium. You'll get 15% off of your first order. If you are looking for something to maybe take the edge off a little bit, maybe give you a little energy, maybe give you a little bit of that nicotine kick, I'm going to recommend Lucy here. These are the breakers. So they have a little capsule in the middle that is almost like a flavor breaker. Halfway through it breaks and gives you a little increased flavor there. Big fan of Lucy. So if you are looking for nicotine pouches, recommend you go check out Lucy. Again, that's lucy.co /stadium. Get you 15% off of your order. Also get free shipping there. They also do a subscription model if that is what you are looking to do. So again, lucy.co /stadium. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical, and this is for people 18 years or older. I want to give a quick shout out in the group chat. So as a reminder, if you're watching, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Eric Buholtz, we normally look at super chats first, right? That's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to guide our show. But Eric Buholtz here, grew up in Coral Springs, went to Coral Springs High School. Go Colts. Shout out to the Colts. Class of 2006 over here. Eric, always good to talk to a fellow Colt in the chat here.
Eric, have you seen Dan's buff in the Coral Springs Hall of Fame?
No. No, probably not. But shout out to Eric. All right, guys, let's get into the show. Let's get through a few outside announcements here. First, Fred Taylor, Silk, your boy, Nick. We got the chance to talk to him with Riedel when we were up there a few months ago. Fred Taylor is a finalist, finally, to go to the NFL Hall of Fame. You think this is his year?
It's a tough list. I think he should be in, but I don't. It's a tough list. I wish we had the entire list there, but they only put 5 in. Mm-hmm. We'll see if he gets in, but they got some Devin Hesters and some guys that are like for sure like first ballot guys in this list, but we'll see what's up. How
many more years does he have? Isn't there like a limit?
I think there's a limit, and then you can get in by the Veterans Committee. I forgot what they call it, but there's another vote later that they're allowed to put folks in. But Fred Taylor, we always tell people, and this is no slight at Jacksonville, if you would have put him on the Dallas Cowboys, a bigger brand team, I think that Fred Taylor is no doubt a Hall of Famer already. He very much deserves it. He's a guy that has the stats to prove it. He wasn't at a big market team and was a workhorse, but 13 NFL seasons under his belt. So Fred Taylor, finalist for Canton for the first time. He is a member of the 10,000-yard rushing club, and I think he's the only person in that club that is not a member of the NFL Hall of Fame already. And 4.6 yards per carry is the 6th highest among all people that are a member of that 10,000-yard club. So congratulations to Fred. Hope you get in, my friend. Danny Wuerffel. Nick, maybe you can talk a little bit about this. Danny Wuerffel, with his Desire Street Ministries, a day after Christmas, I believe, announced that if you received a number 7 Florida Gators jersey, which was a Trevor Etienne jersey, I know that there's one person on the timeline that got one, but that Danny Wuerffel would be raffling off 10 or giving away, 10 free signed Danny Wuerffel jerseys that, according to him, are timeless. So, Nick, you have any more light you can share in that story?
Yeah, I think it started when Trevor went to Georgia. I thought, does this hurt other players trying to sell their merchandise? Like, are fans that mad that they're like, I'm not going to invest in t-shirt, hoodie, jersey, school over player, basically. Those results, as expected, overwhelmingly school over player. And then people started talking under it. Somebody was holding up on Christmas Day a Danny Wuerffel 7 jersey, and then he responded. I think it took 15 minutes for 10 people to slide in those DMs and snatch the jerseys up. But that's really cool. But that was really where it started. I was just wondering, does a star player, fan favorite player, transferring to a rival, does that change fans' perspective on buying merchandise that the players are putting out?
Yeah. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast in college football nowadays. Like, you're taking that risk whenever you buy one of these players' merch, good, bad, indifferent. These guys going to be free agents at the end of every season and can possibly be gone, man. So you're going to just have to spend those bucks just with that in mind these days. But me personally, you know me, bro, I'm just buying the logo, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'll catch you on the way out. You feel me? Like Lagway. I want to buy some Lagway gear, but I don't want to get too attached, baby. I don't know what may happen, man. You know?
Oh, man. Shout out to Danny Wuerffel for doing something cool. He's the guy that when I started following the Gators when I was young, that I cheered for. I had a Danny Wuerffel Saints jersey. I had a Danny Wuerffel at the time they were the Washington Redskins jersey as well. So Danny Wuerffel's an awesome guy, friend of the program too. Early friend of the program, a Stadium Gale. On other news,
20 Danny Wuerffel Saints cards. Still in my archive, still in my folder.
Yeah.
I passed them down to Junior, bro.
I'll never forget. I was probably 8 or 9 years old when he went to the NFL. And at the time you could write to players, like just a letter. And so I wrote a letter to Danny Wuerffel. You mail it to like Saints PR or whatever. And I asked for a couple of Danny Wuerffel signed cards because I couldn't find him at the store, right? He was like the 99th pick in the draft, whatever. Couldn't find him anywhere. He sent me back like 5 signed cards. So I still have those. They're underneath the bed right here, with probably a bunch of other worthless memorabilia. But that was an awesome gesture by the Saints PR team and Danny Wuerffel.
Mine's not signed. They one up me, Nick.
I can give them to your son if you want. They're not personalized to me. You know what I mean? So go to a good home. Go to a good home. All right, guys. So the Gators did announce a couple of, well, not officially announced, but it's come out that the Gators have made a few changes to strength and conditioning into the nutritionist position. So the nutritionist program will now be headed up formerly by Kelsey Gomes, now by Jake Senkal, who is the former nutritionist for the Washington Commanders. He was with the Washington Commanders for the last 8 years as the assistant nutritionist. And before that, he was with, I know, the Cleveland Guardians, with a few other folks as well, previously the Cleveland Indians. And he was also on the NFL subcommittee that develops nutritional therapy protocols for concussions and other football injuries. So we don't have any hot nutritionist takes, I don't believe.
I don't have a nutritionist hot board.
The hot take is that the new nutritionist is always more popular than the old nutritionist.
No Jamaican bacon?
I mean, maybe.
Hopefully, no more Jamaican bacon. But the other piece of the person that you hire is always better than the guy before is the Gators will announce, or it has been it has been noted, and the Gators have not officially announced, but hopefully will soon, that Craig Fitzgerald is going to be joining as the strength and conditioning head. He is the strength and condition, director of strength and performance for the New York Giants. Before that, he was with the University of Tennessee for 2 years. He was with the Houston Texans for a few years before that, previously at Penn State, and then was a member he went to Harvard, was the director of strength and conditioning at Harvard before. So a lot of strength and conditioning, or a lot of folks with Ivy League connections coming to the University of Florida. So has been at Catholic University, Arizona State University of Maryland, Harvard, University of South Carolina, Penn State, the Houston Texans, University of Tennessee, and now the New York Giants. So Nick, Silk, any strength and conditioning hot takes?
My hot take on both of these hires is just we knew how bad it was and what the players complained about with the last regime heading out. Like we made the Jamaican bacon jokes, but we had complaints about nutrition and the program, whoever was heading that up, and then to come back, I think that should have been an emphasis. It's just so important. A lot of guys, we just looked like we was getting pushed around, so that did set us back, and they also set Billy back from whatever he was trying to achieve and win football games. It's a very, very important part of the football program, strength and conditioning and nutrition. But I don't have a hot board for either.
Yeah, I mean, all the players said it was better, but I guess we didn't see that translate to the field. Clearly, Billy didn't think that it was going in the right direction. You make a change, but I don't have great hot takes other than like Saquon Barkley, who's a monster in the weight room, has glowing reviews of the guy. Yeah.
I think I said he was only with the Giants for a year. I was wrong. He's been there since 2020. Yeah. So sorry if I said that. I was reading the bio on the New York Giants website there. So played football at the University of Maryland, was a walk-on, and then got into coaching after that. So Craig Fitzgerald should be announced soon. Nick, any update? So we talked on the last show about Jay Bateman leaving, to lead up the Texas A&M defense. Any movement there of what the Gators might be potentially targeting? Obviously, you have the holiday in there and the transfer portal that may have slowed things down a little bit. But any update on what the Gators' direction might be? We've talked about either potentially a linebackers coach or potentially a safeties coach, with Austin Armstrong making that move.
Yeah, I don't have any update for that. I think Austin Armstrong's history gives you some flexibility in the hire if you find a safety coach that you really like. But yeah, I think it caught Florida off guard, so they weren't really ready to go and make a hire immediately.
All right. So I think that leads us a little bit into the transfer portal. We're going to go over a couple players that are going to be visiting, but the news came out yesterday that Micah Mazzccua, the transfer from Baylor, who wanted to transfer before the season started, is going to be putting his name into the portal. Nick, I know that you mentioned that he had potentially looked at going into the NFL, maybe didn't get the grade that he wanted from the NFL and is going to be looking for a final home. So Micah Mazzccua is in the portal. Your guys' thoughts on Mr. Mazzccua? Silk, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. A little amateur hour. I don't want to get slanderous, but from what I'm just hearing behind the scenes, what I've heard like throughout the season, I think this is addition by subtraction. Mm-hmm. I didn't think he was going to get grades that would entice him to go pro, especially in the NIL era with this guaranteed money, what you can make, what I'm saying, by being a collegiate athlete. So I didn't, addition by subtraction. I need to go get a mauler, an offensive guard that can move and shake some things. He didn't perform up to, I think, his NIL building, what we may have been giving him monetarily, and also just on the field, just a lot to be desired, bro. So go get me a mauler. I do want to see more activity with transfer portal offensive line recruiting right now. I do like what we're doing DB wise, but I need to see an uptick in offensive line recruiting in the portal.
Yeah, I think his intentions were to come here, play 1 year, and then go to the NFL. This move to me would make me think that he didn't get the grade he wanted, and maybe it was mutual to go somewhere else. That's as much as I can gather in the 12 hours since it broke.
Yeah, not a great player. Obviously, started I believe 11 games for the Gators this season. Not bad, not great. Just was a member of that offensive line that was pretty porous, and we complained a lot about throughout this entire season. So hurts depth. You want to be able to try to have a litany of players that are capable of playing. And the Gators currently do not have that right now. So what this could potentially do, does it potentially move Damian George inside to a guard position where he looked a little bit more natural body-wise and the time that he did play there? Does Cam Waits potentially move into that guard position? Brandon, I know that you mentioned that as well. And what do the Gators do? But obviously you lose a lot of experience in another body there that you have to replace somewhere, right? The Gators did get a couple of freshmen that signed in this class, and you have a couple that signed in the last class as well that could be looked to get developed. But again, offensive lineman is just not a position you often look for out of redshirt freshmen or freshmen to play. So the Gators definitely need to go and get a few additional bodies in the transfer portal on offensive line. So that's where we're at right now. So we'll announce where he goes when he goes, but that's where we're at right now. Nick, you gave us a list of a few different players that are going to be visiting on January the 3rd from a transfer portal perspective. John Humphrey is a new name as a UCLA transfer that's currently committed to University of Southern California. Will Harris, who has been probably nonstop on the phone since he's been with the University of Florida staff, did convince him on that January 3rd visit. I believe he had 22 tackles last year, but again, a former UCLA Bruin, currently committed to the University of South Carolina. I think he has 1 year to play one, right?
I think so. It's interesting, though, because I didn't think cornerback was a huge position of need, but you already, I guess, Trequez Bridges is going to play safety. But if you go and look at like the offers that they have out, I'm pulling it up right now. At safety, they've offered Tavion Combs from New Mexico State, Jaden Voisin from South Alabama, Marcus Radcliffe, Kedrick Simpkins. So they're offering a ton of safeties and corners. Are they looking for someone just to start next to Castell? What do we not know maybe about Jaden Hill, Jason Marshall, and that's why they're bringing in so many defensive backs?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big question mark there, right? Is even if Jason Marshall does come back, even if you get a couple of these guys back, it's not like they were lighting the world on fire, right? So you do lose Jaden Hill. You potentially could upgrade at the position still. You lose Jalen Kimber, who started a lot. Obviously, you have Jakeem Jackson. You have Dijon Johnson, who were in the last class as well. But it's not like the Gators are rife with opportunity at defensive back with a lot of proven players, right? You still have a lot of question marks that are there. And maybe in a Hail Mary of trying to save your job, this might be the time that you try to do some plug and play additions to this team.
Jaden Hill has a year left.
So you go to the NFL.
I mean, it's going to be. I like the competition that they're trying to bring in the defensive back room. I need everybody else to get on par with what Will Harris got going on. But I do like the competition they're bringing in. As safety star players going to have to earn spots. I don't think they're going after maybe one or two players at these spots. I feel like they're trying to get several, and that just breeds competition. Don't see them going after a lot of outside corners. More star, more safety. But I mean, Jaden Hills is a returning starter at that spot if he's coming back. But if they're bringing in the type of talent they're trying to bring in, I think I love it. You know, these are physical, big defensive backs that come downhill and tackle. And we were missing a lot of physicality in our defensive side of the ball, a lot of missed tackles. So I do like the body type and the type of guys, how aggressive they're going after guys that are committed right now in the portal to USC. It's like two guys that are committed right now. So I love it, bro. I need DBU to make DBU again. You know what I'm saying?
I
Hey,
love
y'all
that.
pound that like button. It don't cost nothing to show love. Tez, what it do? I see you in the comments, my boy. Y'all pound that like button.
Nick, you mentioned Jaden Voisin from South Alabama, 71 tackles, pardon me, 2.5 for loss, 7 passes deflected, and a forced fumble this past season. And then he's going to be visiting on January the 3rd as well.
Mhm.
And then Marcus Ratcliffe that's the San Diego State transfer that's committed to UCLA. Has he officially announced that he's going to come for that weekend as well? I know that they were targeting that. You have any update there?
I think Corey wrote about that. I'm trying to find it. I think Corey wrote about that yesterday.
Okay.
No, he did not. I'm not sure about that. Right now for January 3rd, I've got Cassius Howe, Jaden Voisin, and John Humphrey.
Perfect. And then Kedrick Simpkins is a name that you mentioned as well from Western Kentucky. It doesn't look like either one of them have scheduled their visit yet, and maybe they have been passed on the list, because it does seem, because the Gators have had all of the players that have visited commit so far from the transfer portal that we know of.
No,
there's
there was
one
that one that
didn't.
went to South Carolina. I forget his name right now.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you're right. And then Cassius Howell from Bowling Green is a name that I know a lot of Gator fans are excited about. 6'4", 235 pounds. Silk, I know that you were high on Cassius Howell, I believe. Any thoughts on what you guys like out of him, or what you expect while I pull up some info about him? 28 tackles, 16 solo, 10.5 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks.
That's the number that pops out, is the sacks. We couldn't get to the quarterback last year, and he has. Another thing I complained about was just how defensive line moves. Didn't seem like these guys had a lot of stuff in their repertoire, and he seems to have a lot of different moves. Just watching some of his tape, so I like the 9.5 sacks. He has a good get off. A guy that if you put him beside Slackman, and our young boys in that spot too. You know, you get Boone back next year. You also got Kelby and Searcy, who showed a lot of promise in the defensive line. So just one or two more edge rushers like that, and I'm going to start liking our defensive line a little bit more. I think we need to get maybe one more defensive tackle to jump in that rotation. But, yeah, I love his film. I love his get off. Need to get him on a visit and keep him. Get him an apartment, a Benz, you know, all that type of stuff.
And they did reach out to Nick Scorton from Purdue, Big Ten leader in sacks. So
is his last name not Caraway?
I don't know.
Did he change?
He must have changed it, because on Purdue's website it was Nick Scorton.
Okay, because I think the tweet originally said Nick Caraway, unless it was a typo. But I was thinking Great Gatsby vibes over here. But Nick Scorton.
On Twitter, it's Nick Caraway. X.
What a world we live in, you know?
But so I had some people get on me about my take on this yesterday. I think Florida's edge is fine.
Yeah.
That you didn't need to add someone unless it was an elite player. Because I like the young guys you have there. You get Boone back, like Silk said. I think this is an elite player. This is someone that you would add. I don't think you're just adding bodies unless you think Kelby Collins is going to outgrow edge and you're going to move him inside a little bit. I think the numbers are there and they're fine. And then somebody like Nick Scorton gets in the portal and I say, okay, well, never mind.
Yeah. So Nick Scorton, formerly Nick Caraway, as a freshman, 10 games, 22 total tackles, 15 solo tackles. First true freshman defensive lineman at Purdue since 2019, and had 2 sacks and a forced fumble to end the season, ranked as the number 105 recruit in 2022 and a 4-star prospect by Rivals.com. Played in the All-American Bowl, which is previously the Army All-American Bowl. So son of Nicky Scorton and Ashley Caraway. Maybe that's where it comes from. So anyway, long story short, that is a guy that Florida could potentially be going after as well. Nick, I know that you've been doing some hot boards of transfer targets, a lot of targets that were potentially maybe connected to the University of Florida have gone elsewhere. It does seem to me, Nick, and tell me if I'm wrong, anytime Bird is the main point of contact, it doesn't seem like he's the one giving out offers. It's like I talked to Bird Cheryl, but I got no offer. Does that sound about right?
I don't know first off, I don't know if the NCAA polices anything anymore, but I don't know if Bird Cheryl's job position can give out offers.
Okay.
I think he's just supposed to report back to the coaches, and the coaches are supposed to do that. But you read that all the time, like, oh, so-and-so off-field coach offered me today. And you're like, wait, what? Who? So I don't think Bird can.
All right. Well,
But maybe.
So that's where we're at. From a transfer portal perspective, what are you guys still looking for?
I need them to get one of these
Position.
edge rushers. I don't know where we're at with this Nick kid, Florida State, Louisville. Some people that have paid crazy money in the portal are definitely after him. He has a lot of suitors. But yeah, I do think we need a big wide receiver, a wide receiver one with a bigger body. A lot of our guys are 6 foot under, that body type. Do like the receiver that we got already, but I think we're missing a bigger size, especially with Caleb Douglas entering the portal. So I'd like to see us get a bigger receiver, 1 or 2 more offensive linemen, whether it's this portal or next portal. I don't want to just get fluff or just a body, just to get somebody at the position like we got this last cycle. So some proven offensive line depth, close on these safeties, star position, and a linebacker. I need one, maybe 2 linebackers, starting linebacker that has some, solidified production that could come in and play right away. We took some fluff last cycle at linebacker and then get a lot of production out of the people that we brought in the transfer portal. So linebacker, another defensive tackle, edge rusher. Man, we got some spots to fill, but I do like to put the spots the players that they pulled in already. No fluff.
Probably starting safety, starting linebacker, interior offensive lineman, a guard, and I think, like you said, a bigger wide receiver.
Do you think that potentially changes with Mazuka leaving and the potential opportunity to maybe move a Damian George inside, that you can now pick and choose? I mean, because no offense.
I don't like George.
Right? I don't know if I want
like
Damian George starting at right tackle going into the 2024 season. But does that potentially give you a little bit of leeway there to go both?
Yeah, I mean, Cam Waits has played both.
Yeah.
I think they like Jake Slaughter at center. I think they like Richie. I would like to see Najee Harris get a shot. And then you've got Crenshaw, Dixon, and Austin Barber. I think those would be your tackles, unless you can add someone else. There's not like after that. I just don't see tackles. They probably need to add another tackle in the portal.
You need depth. So
yeah,
did I say it right this time? Depth. How does that sound? Depth.
Nailed it.
Yeah, forget that. Pete.
Nailed it.
We need more depth at the position, because if one of those guys go down, even if you got Barber and the new Dixon guy at tackle spots, what happened when they go down? Then you're putting George back out at tackle. So we do need some solidified depth at the position, man, for sure.
Yeah. So that's where the Gators land. Silk, I think you mentioned wide receiver, offensive line. I know we had previously talked about running back. We seem like that's been taken care of. You think the Gators, Nick, and maybe this is behind the curtain as well. Do you think the Gators might go after another body at quarterback? I know that they got the preferred walk-on. That was a 3-star from California. But, right now it looks like the Gators are going to enter with Graham Mertz, BJ Lagway, and a couple of walk-ons. You think the Gators try to grab a capable body that might be third string that's maybe looking to get that Division I experience? Or
yeah, I just think it's a tough sell.
For sure.
Anyone that's entering the portal now from a Power 5 school or a good quarterback is looking for a chance to start. You've got a returning starter and then the future. So that's tough. I think, if Jack Miller doesn't come back next year, I I think going into a season with 2 scholarship quarterbacks is not good.
Right. I think that they could probably get a capable body, probably not a starter, but maybe a third string. There's somebody that wants to get their degree from the University of Florida. Imagine sitting at like a directional, FCS school, and somebody's like, hey, instead of getting your diploma from there, and I'm not going to name any schools because all of a sudden the people are going to get mad at them. Like, oh, you can graduate from the University of Florida now instead. That's a business decision. You know what I mean?
It's a tough grab though. Like it's hard to get somebody that's because you don't want to just add just a body because if your quarterback goes down, you actually got to put him in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a tough job to have to recruit somebody to fill in between Mertz and Lagway because like obviously you're not gonna start fall like Nick said, and then the future is Lagway. So it's a tough spot to be in, but we absolutely do need somebody to maybe be a buffer between Lagway getting thrown into immediate action if Mertz goes down.
I'll tell you something, Redoc's health revolution, that's not going to happen. It's going to be this. I don't think that they're going to recruit a second string quarterback and keep Lagway on the bench to learn. It's just not how college football works anymore. There's an investment monetarily in DJ Lagway as well that I don't think that those that are making said investment want to do that. The college landscape has just changed so much that you just can't do that.
You gotta see what all that. You gotta see what he could do with all that money, man. Like sitting on the bench. Nah, bro. It's a lot of bread being spent, man.
That's where we're at. Let's get a quick ad read for HomeField Apparel. HomeFieldApparel.com, promo code Stadium and Gale, all one word at checkout, give you 15% off of your first order. Again, the best vintage shirts for the University of Florida and logos of vintage logos, of the University of Florida, as well as about 100 different schools that are out there, and the Indianapolis Colts. So if you're friends with Harrison or you are Harrison and you're listening, you're a Colts fan, you can go check them out as well. So again, HomeFieldApparel.com, promo code Stadium and Gale. I know a number of you sent us messages that you got stuff for the Christmas and the holiday season. So again, HomeFieldApparel.com, promo code Stadium and Gale. Nick, the internet is not going to let us move on and end this program without talking about the Gators offensive coordinator position. Talk
every
to
day. Florida doesn't have an opening on the offensive side of the ball for another coach.
Oh, we could talk about making one.
They just don't have one right now.
So you think there's a
right now is the operative phrase.
We got to figure this out, man, because the Go Gators had that high was jumping over the weekend, over the holidays, man, nonstop. And then there's some back and forth about Willie Corn, but like you said, somebody has to go. And I know the streets and people in the comments started asking, like, what's up with the offensive linemen, offensive line coaches? Is there going to be a move made? Their contracts expire soon, right?
Yeah, unless they have agreed to extensions, we would have to Freedom of Information Act that stuff.
Silk, I think you were the trendsetter when you got Freddie Swain an offer at the University of Florida.
Swain to the swamp.
Your hashtag Swain to the swamp. And now I think the internet believes. Now, mind you, these are all the same folks that wanted Billy Napier hired before Dan Mullen got fired too. So I've said this already. And Paul Salmons, great friend of mine, one of my best friends. He was part of the search committee that got Billy Napier. He brought his name to the timeline. So we've got to change the search committee for next season if we're going to be making a change. But Paul and his crew are all about Brennan Marion, who is at UNLV. They run the Go offense. So they did the Go Gators. So that is a name that the fan base on Twitter likes. I know you mentioned Willie Corn, who I've heard mixed things. There's some people on the On3 message boards that are assured by somebody's nephew, relative, somebody that plays at Liberty says Willie Corn definitely calls the offense. I've heard Willie Corn definitely has never called the offense at Coastal Carolina or Liberty. So that is a name of interest as well. But again, the Gators right now do not have an open position on the offense. They do have an open coaching position, but I don't believe that will go to the offensive side of the ball.
What do you guys think is gonna happen? Like we like to go off of just substance, but do you think they go with a play call? Obviously, that smoke has been big. Billy hinted at it during the season. What you think happens?
I just think if he looks at how the season went, it's easy to say it wasn't the offense. The offense is fine. If we stop somebody, if we don't give up 800 yards at LSU, if Trevor Etienne just runs out of bounds at Missouri, we win that game. Also, if something I brought up on our message board yesterday, if Billy Napier doesn't think his job is in jeopardy, why would he make a change? If he does think his job is on the line in 2024, are you giving up power? Hey, you go call plays. Hope it works, because if it doesn't, we're both out. So just playing devil's advocate, I'm trying to see both sides. I can see where he could look at the season and say the offense wasn't the problem, and then not want to give up calling plays.
Maybe this is my thing, and we like to compare Billy Napier to a CEO, right? That's, I think, the approach that a lot of the Gator fan base that wanted him when Dan Mullen was here is he's somebody that knows how to delegate, somebody that's operationally sound. Now, you can argue what you've seen out of the results, whether that's true or not. But if you're the CEO of a company and you're also the VP of sales of said company and sales are going down, you have to take a very long, hard look at yourself to say, hey, am I the right person for the overall enterprise of the business to do this? It's not whether you're capable or not, right? You could have been the world's best VP of sales and you moved up into the CEO role. That doesn't mean that you are the right person for the job right then. Right. So that's the way that you have to think about, not we're just prognosticating here, but Billy Napier has to think is it's not about whether the offense is capable enough or did they do enough where you're only a couple games away from having 8 wins instead of 5. You're also a couple of miraculous plays away of only having 4 wins on the season against South Carolina, right? So then you start to look at it from a CEO perspective and you start to look at all of the things that are on your plate if you're Billy Napier, right? You're the head coach of the program, which includes all of your speaking engagements and news and PR and all of that. You're the head recruiter for a lot of players, it seems. And if you're not the head recruiter, you're definitely very involved. You're also the offensive coordinator. Also, you're supposed to be involved in helping game plan with the defensive side of the ball. And on top of that, you're so focused on all of your other operational things, running the strength and conditioning department, the nutrition department, which you've already deemed were not quality enough. You start to add all of these things, and it's no longer are you capable enough of being the offensive coordinator. Is that the right responsibility for you if you're trying to right the ship? And that's an ego thing that, again, an individual has to make, or somebody can make that decision for you.
Man, that man was doing triple reverses when it just didn't make sense, man. I understand what the stats say and some of the numbers say, but there's some just chemistry and just talent from a play, like the feel for the game just not there. I don't think the offensive system and the style of the offense is bad. And I think that's why guys like Willie Corn, guys he's worked with before, make a lot of sense in that aspect, because you don't have to scrap his entire offense. And if you bring in a guy like Willie Corn, he gets hot and becomes a head coach elsewhere, you still have your system in play. And that's why, like, just nothing against Marion and the go-go offense, but you can't abandon your foundation of what you built your whole career on, and that's your offense, man. You got to stick to your guns a little bit there, but I'm with you. He has to delegate to elevate a little bit, trying to be, the end all be all. Like, our special teams look crazy. Take some of that head coaching and that play calling off of your plate a little bit and put some more focus on other areas of the team in the game. And I think you just got to get some favor back from the fans, some PR and some good mojo, because if you don't burn that OC card right now, like, I don't know what type of faith you give the fans heading into 2024 season. It's just going to be a scorching hot seat of mad people criticizing the offense at everything it does. And then 8:31, that first game versus Miami, that's the hot seat bowl. Whoever loses that game between the two coaches is going to be on a scorching ass hot seat.
I hadn't even thought about Florida losing that game yet.
Man, he lose that. That's the beginning of the
Yeah,
end right
yeah.
there. If he lose that,
Yeah, Twitter is annoying now, right? And for me, it's not about. I know there's some people that there's a lot of debate in the comments, and keep going. What between writing comments, make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. But I don't think it's about whether Billy's offense is bad or whether it cost Florida games or not. Right? There's a lot that went into that, and a lot of it was on the defensive side of the ball, and you made some changes there. A lot of it is about responsibility as well as what you have on that staff right now. If you look at the offensive side of the ball, Jabbar Jalouk has seemingly done well, right? I mean, Florida's running back room has looked pretty good. They've gotten some good talent there. And then you have Callaway at tight ends coach, who was elevated after Piegler went to the NFL last season. Seemingly okay. You get Amir, the 4-star tight end, to join the class. And then you have Billy Gonzalez, who a lot of question marks have been there for a long time about the quality of talent that the Gators have gotten under Billy Gonzalez at the wide receiver position. And then you have 2 coaches on the offensive line, which was your worst part of your offense last season, right? So neither Rob Sale or Darnell Stapleton are known as great recruiters. Florida hasn't been able to get in a ton of talent on the offensive line. Now, you can say that Fletcher Westphal is a good get. You can say that Noel Port-Najan from Germany, the best player in his country, second best player in the entire continent. It might be a great player. But again, Florida's not been in it or has not been able to get the commitment of the 5 stars either. So it's not just about that. There's also other glaring gaps that the Gators have on the offensive side of the ball that they've not been able to gel together over the last 2 years, right? So that could be another addition. It's not just switching up your offense to a completely different system, as you're adding potentially another capable recruiter or capable developer, right? But you can't look at Florida's 6-7 season and 5-7 seasons and be like, it's not the offense. The offense is perfect. Recruiting's going great. We don't need to make any changes there, right? Like there are things that you can do that's not just change the offense by hiring an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Rob, Mr. Sell is robbing us. Shout out my man Carl Murray in the comments. He said OC doesn't matter when your O-line is inept. I mean, you got 2 problems right there. The O-line is inept, and your OC and title is your offensive line coach, who doesn't call plays, who's taking in a big salary, who's not recruiting well. I think he's the obvious man out right there, and we'll see what happens with Stapleton in the future. But I think if you just look at it on paper with our struggles on offense, why it's not like the problem, right? We got a lot of problems. Offense is not the problem, and it's actually okay. But the main problem on offense is the offensive line, and the offensive line coach has the OC title, and the triple reverses and times that don't make sense has cost us in a lot of momentum in some big games. So there's, something has to happen in that fashion, I think, with the offensive line coach and offensive play calling.
Clock management, getting in the plays on time. I mean, how many times did the Gators get delay of games out of
urgency,
timeouts,
terrible.
And stoppage in time? I mean, there's other things beyond just completely changing the offense. Nick, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
So that'll be interesting because Billy loved the idea of having 2 offensive line coaches. Talked about it in his opening press conference. Thinks it's important. I don't know that we're seeing the results of that. The players say they like it. The recruits say they like it. I don't know that we're seeing the results, but that would be the obvious move. If you're going to bring in a offensive coordinator, play caller, would be to just go to one offensive line coach and find another position for that play caller.
And I know I used this phrase before. Let's call a spade here. Like 2 offensive line coaches. I know that those are the only ones that can technically do the coaching, but we all know that you have an army of analysts that can also provide guidance for coaching as well, right? It's
encouragement.
Let's encourage, right? So those are things, and I just that was something that I felt needed to be talked about after reading some of these comments here. So, okay, there's our offensive line coach.
How y'all feel about Billy G, man? Just a shoulder shrug.
I mean, so when Kerry Colbert left last season to go to the NFL, which again could happen this offseason. I think the Gators grabbed a familiar name, somebody that was an easy get at a tougher time to find a position coach, right? A lot of changes had already been made. You were in February when they made the change last season. So you go with a familiar name. He'd been at UF 3 times or 2 times. This is his 3rd. So,
and I think he was at Marshall at the time.
Was it Marshall or FAU?
Marshall.
I think he had left FAU to go to Marshall, so he might have said yes before Billy even finished the sentence.
Yeah, I mean, West Virginia.
No disrespect, West Virginia. No disrespect.
Disrespect, pretty place, but yeah, they had what's his name? Friend of the program, Dallas Baker. That could have been a get. I know he'd gone to Baylor at the time, but we've noticed in this chat that they all want former Gators as position coaches. Robert Gillespie, Dallas Baker, Phil Trotwine, Bam Hardman, who is now going to Tulane from Troy. So take him off your linebacker hot board. Maybe not completely. I mean, I'm sure Florida threw the bag at him, but yeah. So Marquand Manuel, you built a pretty good staff of former Gators, to be honest.
Yeah.
Those are the retread names.
Where we at? Do we the linebacker hire? What are we hearing there? Do they go for a linebacker guy, or does Armstrong take over the linebacker position and we find a safety coach?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were caught off guard. I think the offer from A&M to Bateman came in right at signing day, right around signing day, and it caught Florida off guard. So I don't think they were ready to make a change there. And all I know is that you can be flexible in your hire because you could slide Armstrong down if you find a safeties coach that you like more than the linebackers coach.
What do you think you would do? Do you want your defense coordinator coaching the linebackers or safeties?
I don't know. They're both kind of inside linebackers. They're both kind of inside linebackers, safety, both kind of the general out there, the captain,
right.
the quarterback of the defense. So either one. I don't want him coaching like edges and only watching that and just blitzing every play.
Right. Yeah, if it's me, I would have made this linebacker coach hire already. If it's me, right, and let Armstrong do his thing with the safeties. But
bring Jamar back.
Jamar Chaney right there vibing, chilling. Get you an elite recruiter that's coming in, somebody that's familiar with the logo. The state got a lot of footprint from Fort Pierce to South Florida. So, Fort Pierce is kind of South Florida, but, from Fort Pierce down to Miami, he has a lot of clout as the kids would say these days, bruh. So I would make that hire like a week ago, but I don't know what their options are either. So I'm just waiting to see what's going to play out here.
If Jamar Chaney had never been at UF and Florida hired, let's just say he'd been at Alabama and then went to in that role and then went to Western Kentucky, would the fan base be happy, or are they wanting Jamar Chaney because of familiarity with the name? Obviously, a lot of attachment to recruiting. But as an on-field coach who's only had the one season at Western Kentucky, would he be called a Billy Special, right? A G5 Billy? What do you guys thought?
Depending on the results of the linebackers, he would.
I mean, this fan base, you're gonna have a hire that's negative regardless, right? I don't care what hire you make, there's gonna be a positive and negative side of that hire. That's just how this fan base, or most fan bases, is probably set up. I don't know. I just follow this one closely. But I think you do want some more, and I spoke about this last show. You do want more experience. This is a very young defensive side of the ball on the staff, from the head coaching down. You got rid of one of the older guys in Corey Raymond, and so you would like more experience. And Jay Bateman. So you got rid of a lot of experience with age. But Jamar Chaney, like from what I'm from what I know, him as a linebacker coach and played the game before, and you send him off to Western Kentucky to get that experience, right? To get some on the field training, and then you bring him back. I don't know what their board looks like, but we have been making some very young hires at D-line that we just brought in, DB coach, the defensive coordinator has been a youth movement. So I don't know how you break that trend. Like, how do you go find some older? I don't want no 60-year-old DB linebacker coach either, right? Or Jerron, the linebacker coach, is coming in here.
Yeah.
There you go. You just kicked it back up. You just mentioned the name, you kicked it back up.
Shout out to old man.
And then Silk, here's some news. Willie Simmons from FAMU is being targeted by Duke to be their running back coach.
I don't like that for FAMU.
I don't like that for FAMU either. But
leaving for head coach to be a running back coach, like, I think you could be a little bit more patient and get a better gig. At least get a coordinator gig, bro. Like, leaving for a positional gig from head coaching after getting all these transfers is wild, right? He's been loading up on transfers, and to gather all those kids and to get another job as a positional coach is not a good look for HBCU, for sure.
Let's see. Here's some quotes on Craig Fitzgerald. Just scrolling the timeline here. We're nearing the end of the show. Dexter Lawrence said about Craig Fitzgerald, he helped me heal a ton. Jihad Ward, we don't want him to leave at all. And Saquon Barkley, it sucks to see him go. So 3 great quotes about Craig Fitzgerald. Gentlemen, before we get to the end of the show, quick day of content before we get into the New Year's holiday here. Any final thoughts? And we'll do a quick ad read. Nick, you have Song of the Week, so find your sea shanty of the to end the year on, and then we'll end. But Silk, any final thoughts or any topics of conversation?
I think I'm just waiting. Big visits on the way with the portal. We'll see what these guys do, what type of decisions they make. But the team for the fall is being made right now. We don't know a whole lot of who's gonna play versus who. Even with the Miami game, there's gonna be a lot of transition at their quarterback spot. We just got a lot of moves to make in the trenches. I think Graham Mertz is gonna be a very good quarterback when it pertains to just leading the team, getting us in and out of not just plays, but the offseason. Like, he got some experience. He got a lot of respect from his peers. So the offseason could be very fruitful if we get the right players in the right spots in the portal. Got to drop some bags. Got to get these guys in here ready to compete for spring. And being able to, like the spots you said earlier about possibly moving George inside, you can figure all that out in spring. But you need the bodies and different players to be able to mix and match. Even watching the Miami game last night, hearing the commentator said that they had the same offensive line the entire season. I was just like, dang, like, until the bowl game, they really had the same offensive line. That could do wonders for you, bro. And they had great protection. So we just need to get the bodies and stay healthy all offseason and get through spring, always the fall, with the same offensive line. But most importantly, finish the staff, and finish getting talent. That's all I got.
Perfect. Nick, any final thoughts?
No, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I would like them to finish the staff. I would like the portal to close.
So players can officially enter until the 4th. Is that correct? Or the 5th?
Second.
The 2nd. They can technically announce, or they can go anywhere after that. They just have to be in the portal by the 2nd.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. You just have to be in the portal. And let's say it closes at 11:59. They could send a text to the compliance person at their school at 11:58, 11:59, and they can do the paperwork next day.
Okay.
So you'll see guys on the 3rd and the 4th saying, hey, so-and-so just entered, even though it's closed. And then if you're on a playoff team, you get 5 days after your last game.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's going to be more talent entering the portal as these bowl games.
There should be.
Better teams are winning bowl games or completing bowl games. You're going to see more and more talent enter it. There's a lot of panic at the top of the transfer portal with Florida inactivity, but it's been picking up with more solidified production.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Nick, get your Song of the Week ready. We're going to do one final ad read for our friends over at Alumni Hall. Go visit alumnihall.com or go visit Alumni Hall on Archer Road right off of 275. for anything that you want, Gators apparel wise, tailgating, accessories, holiday goodies, ornaments, those kind of things, probably on sale right now after the holiday. But anything that you would want for yourself or any Florida Gator fan in your life. So again, we appreciate Alumni Hall for all of their support. AlumniHall.com or Alumni Hall on Archer Road. Nick, song of the week.
Just got put onto this band, Texas Country. They're called Treaty Oak Revival. Song is Have a Nice Day.
What song?
Have a Nice Day.
I love it, man.
Boom.
Love it. Well, we appreciate you guys.
Texas Country is like its own thing. I don't know if
they
not
usually have a little bit more
Nashville.
fiddle or steel guitar. Usually a little heavier, a little bit more rock and roll than you get out of your Nashville country. It's actually what I prefer. Music from like Texas, Oklahoma, that kind of music. Turnpike Troubadour, Shane Smith, that whole group over there. So want to thank everybody. Another great year. It's hard to believe we've been doing this for 4.5 years on Stadium and Gale. Thank everybody for your support. Thank you for riding with us. Thanks for hitting the like button now if you haven't already. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button as well. We appreciate you guys for another great year of Stadium and Gale. Next year is going to be another great year. We're going to do some more events together. We're going to try to get up to a baseball game or get down potentially to a baseball game against Miami. But long story short, it's been really great to watch and grow with you guys. So we appreciate y'all's support. Have a safe and healthy New Year's Eve and New Year's, and we will see you guys in 2024.